We were the anti-nuclear capital of the world. I was an autistic kid. My father was a drafted United States Marine, an incredible man. I come from an incredible family. My uncle stood on Omaha Beach on D-Day. I grew up on a huge ranch out by the lake. He was a beautiful, incredible person. He was at Pendleton, combat ready, and they were human guinea pig. They were marched into the trenches in Nevada. They're called atomic veterans. He nearly died at the blast. Between 1951 and 1968, we had 300 open-air tests. Well, as different scientists started to write about this, Wallace Stegner was at the University of Utah at the time. I got to know him. Edward Abbey was hanging around there. I got to know him. I got to know all these environmentalists, and I was an environmentalist. And it was a passionate, intense subject matter there.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Bloomgate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. Bloomgate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. They'll be calling you a radical. May God have mercy on all of your souls.
Nuclear power was evolving. We were promised, oh, this can't happen.
Yeah, I ain't got to tell you nothing. Well, good morning. Hopefully you guys are still curled up in your dogma snuggies and eating your dogma burgers, and you got it all figured out. Hopefully maybe you can come out for an hour, open your mind, have a little bit of logic and a little bit of reason, just a little bit, just a little. You only got to do it 2 hours a week. Maybe you can think about things. I want people to understand. Everybody thinks when I'm doing a YouTube video or doing something or putting out some information, I'm trying to give them something. Tell them thank yous for inspiration. No, I'm not doing it because it's not going to do any good to any of you anyway. I'm recording history. That's what artists do. Artists record history. That's all. Because everybody's so deeply branded into their dogma. And, again, I say it over and over and over and over and over. The entire country skipped the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And then these YouTube, whatever, the alternative media, or whoever they think they are, come out and regurgitate 3rd grade history, and people get all amped up about it. There's 350 million goats to feed in this country. They can pick a little niche out, and they'll carve one out, and let their advertisers sell you some gold and silver. They'll do it. Got a lot to talk about. First, the NSA has apparently gave the go-ahead signal to report the Megan Rice story. It's no coincidence not one single media outlet reports it, except me, and I'm not a media outlet. It's no coincidence that bing, bang, 3 media outlets come out simultaneously yesterday with a story about exclusives. Daily Mail exclusive. New York Daily Post exclusive. Exclusive? Why don't you Google YouTube, you fuckheads, before you fucking write a video? And that's all they do anyway. There's no investigative journalists. None. This country is the most corrupt country in the history of mankind, bar none. So you have a Patriot Act which backdoored the Constitution. So unless you're a defense contractor, you're a lobbyist, you're a policeman, you work with some kind of apparatus in the upper echelon, you get whatever you want. You just loot the country. No one talks about the debt anymore. That subject's even off the table. Don't talk because they've kept the interest rate at 0 on my. God, look, my house is going up, honey. Let's leverage it again. And I don't have to interact with other people. Look at our 2 dogs. Let's walk the dogs. I mean, what a grotesque place this has turned out to be. America is grotesque. It's disturbing. It's disgusting. We're a democracy. We were never a democracy. We're a republic with a constitution. We have no constitution. We have all the hardcore thumbprints of a third world corrupt nation, except for one thing. We have the biggest military, the Queen's military. Her mass murdering complex that she sends around the world to freaking colonialize and take over countries and steal natural resources and create a false bravado that somehow you need gold and somehow you need silver. That's all it is. That's all it is. Look, you have a massive reeling debt. You have a budget completely out of sync, out of sight, that goes all the way in military via the 1970s, the Soviet Union. You have corruption from A to Z, top to bottom, with no populace that cares about corruption. You have a police force that kills people randomly, indiscriminately, unarmed people in droves, and the American populace supports it. We've had 7 here in 10 days in Utah. 7. No one cares. The populace goes away with it because the populace deep down inside probably doesn't go along with it, but they have to be on the winning team because America is home of the cowards. They're not about to stand up to this corrupt machine. They're willing to get up at 4:30 in the morning and go to their freaking dead-end job. All that's getting them further and further in debt. But they get a shiny, nice car to drive back and forth to the dead-end job in their metal coffins. Oh, it's always been... No, it's not always been this way. It's never been this way. Everything anyone tells you is the opposite. Up is down, black is white, yellow is blue, green is red. I'm a Christian when I'm a devil. I'm a devil when I'm a Christian. You know, vice versa, whatever. I'm religious when I'm an atheist. I'm an atheist when I'm, a God-fearing whatever. They're all liars. That's what all the hairspray's about. Here in Utah, they come out, BYU, the Mormon Church has a code now. You can't have a beard in the Mormon Church. Now think about that. Think about that. All Mormons had long beards and long hairs, not very long ago. All of them. All of them. Right out of the Bible. So they make it up. We have a big story breaking in Utah right now, a very big story. Now, you know how corrupt this place is. The sitting attorney general, I'm the past attorney general, been charged by the FBI with 11 and 13 felonies. I mean, it's just corruption after corruption. They all hate me here, especially inside the Capitol. I'm in the Capitol all the time, fighting. I'm the strongest activist in the state of Utah you've never heard of. I will never get any media here. They absolutely fear me. Because I know I'm on to them all. Okay, Stericycle. Stericycle is a medical incinerator company that exists around the world. There's certain types of wastes, including the brain encephalitis, that no one in North America wants to burn because that's how it perpetuates into the atmosphere. And it's just like all you people, this science, this radiation doesn't kill you, can't see it. These people are so far back, they don't even believe in germs. I'm sure that doctors, maybe the American populace, say, you don't need to wash your hands. That won't kill people. This is how insane the American populace, how ignorant, how backwards the American populace has become. Science, what's that? Germs through the air? Radioactivity through the air? Oh, that's not me. There's a woman here. She's a Republican, neocon, earth-hating, kill the earth, and hardcore politician. She's the first female Speaker of the House in the state of Utah. Her name is Becky Hatchett. I think it's an amazing story. We've been fighting Stericycle hardcore, really fighting Stericycle hardcore. Stericycle is the medical incinerator that exists in Bountiful, Utah, right next to Salt Lake, which is only a couple miles from the Capitol. They're the only medical incinerator in this hemisphere that is allowed to burn all this waste, and nobody else will let them in. No other countries, no other states, they know they're that dangerous. So believe it or not, a lot of the world calls mad cow, the University of Utah will term you as a 1 in a million very rare disease. Isn't it funny how everybody has a 1 in a million rare disease? Everybody's dying because that's what they play on you. Just like me. They say mine's so incredibly freaking rare, but I know at least 6 people that have it. Of course, there's only 2 of us alive, maybe 3. I hear rumor there's another one. Because they're not rare diseases. So she, on November 5th, remember the 5th of November, she got sick. She's not 44 years old or 46. She's a beautiful woman. Incredible. Young children. Educated. In shape. Militant as they get. Dogma as they get. I've never met, I don't think I've ever known a woman with this heart of dogma. Anyway, She's got freaking mad cow, brain encephalitis, which, by the way, kills you fast. There's no cure. She died. So here's the Mormon Church, the whole freaking apparatus in Utah, and they're hairsprayed. The devils have come out, and they're grandstanding, because this is how they play here. And this is not just here. San Diego's exactly the same. Southern California's exactly the same. And probably a lot of the places are. Oh, you're doing good. They grandstand you. As long as you're dying, they love you as long as you're dying. Oh, you're doing good, and they talk like this, and they grandstand. But if you fight and you defend yourself, and you really fight for your cancer, like I've done it on YouTube, they hate you. Oh, they hate you. If you survive, oh, they really hate you. They hate each other. This is the haterist culture in human history in America. I can prove it. It's like, what's his name, the famous sports writer says, talking about Twitter, could be the meanest place on earth. I says, you ever been to YouTube? This is a culture that people think they're competing. What are you competing for? Cancer? Growth for the sake of growth is the ideology of cancer cells, Edward Abbey. Killing yourselves. But America is so, and by the way, the baby boomers are completely gonzoed in their mind, in the aggregate. There's one generation even worse than the baby boomers, believe it or not, and that's hard to do. The echo boomers. They're the dumbest, ignorantest group of human beings who ever walked the face of the earth, bar none. And this is not commentary. This has been proved in study after study. These people, and they'll sit around YouTube like they know things. These are people who couldn't tell you the three branches of government. They couldn't tell you the second president of the United States. They couldn't tell you the secretary of state. They couldn't tell you the next state over. You could walk outside and ask them to point east, west, north, south. They couldn't do it. These are illiterate, hardcore illiterate. And in the aggregate, it's a fact. It's a fact. The public education system, yeah, as bad as it is, the private education system completely went to shit in this country. The private education system is 10 times worse than even the public, and the public's pathetic because you're only as good as the people teaching. It has nothing to do with the tax base. Well, it has everything to do with the tax base. What's a tariff? Reeling debt. The only way, by the way, these municipalities that exist in this country are based and fundamentally founded on one simple thing right now: property taxes. Corporations pay no tax. It's like everybody thinks that the thumbprint of America is the United States stock market. No, it's not. It used to be. It was out for 150 years, maybe 200, maybe even longer. And these countries are American. Oh, you protectionists, these globalists. America was anti-globalist the entire history of the country, the whole history. Every time they tried the globalists, they tried during the slave trade. America stood up. America's always stood up against the globalists until 1994. Ross Perot said it perfectly. Look over there, those two guys standing there, Bush and Clinton. Look at those twins, he would say. Look at those identical twins. They're both globalists. Whoosh! You hear Friedman, you hear all these idiot economists still babbling the same bullshit. It's not commentary anymore. It's not opinion anymore. It's facts. That's what I'm doing. I'm recording history in factual content. Fact. And you can eat all the dogma burgers you want. The fact of the matter, the two greatest American experiments in U.S. history, the two great experiments. One, nuclearism, gigantic, horrific failure. Two, science fiction economics. The Alan Greenspan free market fairy tale, freaking trickle-down economy. By the way, giant failures. No debt in 1980. Average American in 1979 making $106,000 working more than 40 hours a week. Now, it takes two people to have the equivalent lifestyle working 65. This country's obliterated because it's funneled up to the 1%, and the 1% took their money and left the United States because the United States is radioactive. The so-called elitists that you handed them, the same people that bitch about the elitists love the elitists. The Michael Savages of the world, the AJ, the Alex Jones, the people that bitch about them the most love them the most. They think they're going to be one of them. They're the ones that handle their tune. They're the ones that preach this free market fairy tale shit. They're the ones that got rid of tariffs. They're the ones that got rid of Glass-Steagall. They're the ones that got rid of any protection, any labor law whatsoever. It used to be time and a half on weekends. All these, they're all gone, every single one. But now you think about this. It is against the law to pay someone cash for very good reason. undermines the fabric of the community. The entire construction industry, the entire hotel industry. These are huge, giant industries that employ fucking tens of millions, the backbone of America. They broke the backbone, snapped it. The tax base completely gone, but the 0% interest rate in the fake area. I'm telling you, this housing bubble 2.0 happens, and it's going to be so ugly that it's going to freaking... I mean, the people that think they're up there, and I can prove it. I have access to all this data. It's collected. The data's collected. You take the person, the average person in this country over the age of 35 years old, balance sheet's $125,000 to the bad. Now put them together. Now pull out, say, a 40 or 50% freaking zap down in the markets. Now you think about it. Okay, the housing market. Gold's not going to protect you either, by the way, because when this comes tumbling down, it's all going to come down. The dollar is getting stronger and stronger and stronger, much stronger by default. Why? Because everybody around the world said, fuck the United States and their growth economy model. The whole world doesn't buy into the quarter-over-quarter growth model. So you're getting a slowdown globally. So these currencies are reeling in, especially in Europe. Do you think America has a lot of baby boomers? Do the math on Europe, baby boomers. Their populaces are getting older. They're not repopulating, which is a good thing. Japan's populous, and that leads me to TEPCO. There was an accident over yesterday. 5 people were killed and 2 different, or injured. 1 died in at the nuclear facility. Now, I don't know if it was 1 separate incident or 2 separate ones, but the fact is this. These different websites are reporting now that there's only been 2 workers killed at the plant, when we know for a fact there's been well over 8,000 of them now. And now actually killed at the plant, we know there's been several dozen. For these websites to report that it's 2, it just shows you how backwards and ignorant they are, because they haven't been paying attention to the story. There's over 10,000 workers dead at Fukushima. 10,000. They've died of cancer already. Acute radiation exposure and poisoning, including the head of the so-called Fukushima 50. All of those, I mean, they got exposed heavily, and they're using the homeless. They're making them sign non-disclosure contracts. They're cheating them. The mob's running it. So, and it's against the law, under the law in Japan, which the United States forced down the throat, called the State Secrets Act, to even report it or even talk about it. Nobody in Japan can talk about it. Now, you think about that. Now, let's remember, Japan went along with Hitler, right? So did Sweden, by the way. So did Italy, by the way. So did, I mean, these places, they think they're some kind of, I guess they still believe in the Shogun Society, the feudals, and so does America. A royal didn't dare set foot in this country for 200 years. They wouldn't set foot here. They've got their heads chopped off. Now, oh, look, Kate's having a big... People are degenerate in America. They're ignorant and degenerate. They love being repressed. They love being controlled. They want to be a bitch on a leash. Man, woman, all of them. You know, our poor children, don't even let them step down the line. They want, oh, that's good. That cop shot that guy. Wasn't that guy bootlegging cigarettes? Wasn't that guy shoveling sidewalks? Oh, didn't that kid have a toy gun? Oh, that guy must have been a criminal. The cops. I heard Danielle Willard had freaking drugs when she had no drugs. Oh, they must have. I'm so glad they killed them. Because America's a culture of hate. It has no respect for human life. Bush did that. Bush Cheney, the wars, 2 wars, did that. Fox News, CNN, Credibility Not News, which are completely hostile, run by the NSA, 100%. The CIA, the NSA, run freaking CNN. I mean, that's them. The same board of directors that own the nuclear reactors. By the way, there's a new federal study coming out saying this. They're saying that in 1996, the United States, the grid, nuclear made up 17.9%, right around 18% of what came from nuclear. Now they're saying it's 10.6. We know for a fact it's less than 2%. Why? Technology, the sun took the field. We're just holding on to old, wore-out freaking technologies. And then all these guys go, oh, we had, come on, let's get in reality. Let's get reality. Oh, we could do this, we could do that. These fairy tales. Cures for cancer. Eat some apricot. No, there's no cure for cancer. These diseases, and my doctors will tell you, they'll all tell you, they're happening far more often post-Fukushima. The kill rate is off the hook. They're more aggressive, they're hardcore, and they're killing in droves. The killing fields from Fukushima are happening now. The survival rate of cancer, which was climbing, started to decline in 2012, and it's declining rapidly. More and more people are dying quicker and younger of freaking all these crazy cancers and all these so-called 1 in a million diseases. But Americans double down in their dogma. They hate the environment, hate it with a passion. They hate the birds, they hate the trees, they hate their neighbors, they hate their kids, they hate themselves. For real. It's all a facade. It's unbelievable, especially Southern California. Southern California used to be the home of the environmentalists. California was the home of the environmentalists. There's not one single environmentalist left in California. As I wrote that and read that and did that, I caught the last San Diegan. I was at the San Onofre hearing, and we come by, talking like this. Oh, you guys, please stop that. You guys are crooked. I can't believe you did. They talk like this. And, oh, you got to stop that. Not me. I don't play that way. And then you got the other person who stands up there who gets all passionate and emotional, can't control their emotion, knows the thing. They sound like a babbling fucking radical fucking lunatic buffoon because they don't know their subject matter. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're just mad, and they don't know why they're mad because they're fucking mad. They're probably mad because they fucking were an abused child. Why don't you go fucking take it out on the person that abused you? It's, these arguments need to be articulated. They need to be strong. They need to be educated, which that takes hard work. America's not willing to do any of that fucking hard work. Forget that. We're going to watch 6 YouTube fucking videos and go to a fucking 2 fucking day seminar, and we're going to be a fucking expert. No, you're not. Not happening. The two experiments held grotesquely. Science fiction economics has been a disaster. Everybody says, "Oh, well, just be in that 1% of the 1%." It's even a disaster for them. You really want to be one of those guys? Yeah, those are some people, man. Really fucked up people. They're non-communal. They're a mess, and they never have enough. Never have enough because they're trying to capture something that is psychological. They're trying to capture through wealth and money that they will never capture. It's called love. They don't have any. Spirit, soul, integrity, all these virtues that we used to look up at in this country. We fucking stopped those. We buried them in the ground. What do we look up to? Greed, kill, hate, all these evil things. We do it through the mega churches. We do it through the Mormon church. The evangelical church leaders preach it. Jesus died so I could be rich. I don't fucking think so. They're liars. Gates, private security around their freaking churches. Politicians that run to be a politician just for the money. Got a book out 2 days of me of love after I freaking run. They think they've won the lottery. They don't run to make a change in their community to respect their citizens. It's supposed to be representative of government. They're supposed to run to stand up for their people. No, they run for their own selfish greed. They don't work. They become a politician for their own selfish, sick, whacked out greed, unloved children. And the American populace, you got an ignorant populace. I did my PhD before I got cancer. Walked around. I was finishing it up post-ignorance. What's your opinion of Congress? We hate them, we hate them, we hate them, we hate them. 2,000 interviews. Educated people. What's your opinion? Who's your congressman? They don't know. They have no clue. But they could tell you at the national level. They could tell you they could tell you what's going on in Paris, but they can't tell you what's going on across the street from their own house. They have no idea because all they do is watch national news, and then local news has become a joke. I mean, they might watch the little local news to pick up a little weather report, but they're getting it online, and all they're doing is getting the top 10 stories off the Google freaking search engine. trending. You're all trending. So no one even knows what the fuck's going on in their own community. They have no idea. So in the meantime, while you don't know what's going on in your community, there's no watchdogs. Your community is being looted. And every community is divided up across it. There's no swing states. There's no swing communities. They're either red or blue. There's no checks and balances whatsoever. The courts are captured. Law enforcement's corrupt as corrupt. Law enforcement's, which, do you love how they call it law enforcement? I really love how they call it law enforcement. I thought it was called police. Police is a term that it means communal, within inside the community. Law enforcement. I thought that we had courts. I thought courts were law enforcement. I thought police were police. Now they're judge, jury, executioner. Oh, you sold some cigarettes. You were shoveling a walk without a permit, whatever. You deserve to die. Judge, jury, executioner. Boom, bang, bang, over. Huh. It's out of control. Really out of control. And the American populace loves it because they're sick. They've swallowed so many dogma burgers. They watch so much Fox News. They watch so much Fox CNN. They've been freaking GMO'd into a freaking fluorine fucking water into a fucking bliss. Huh. Didn't work on me. I wonder why it didn't work on me. Maybe all the chemo got it out of there. I was like, oh, it didn't work on me before the chemo. But my friends, Kevin, where'd you learn all this activism? Same place. You were sitting right fucking next to me. That school they tore down. Because it's simple. People know right from wrong. They know, but they think they're on the winning team. This is nothing but contemporary sheep herded around fainting goats. They go with the fucking flow. They don't free think, and they're afraid to be the nail that sticks up because they think they're going to get hammered down. They're scared. They're afraid. So they go along with it. And I can prove that they don't believe it. They just go along with it. And I can prove it. What do you think the pill epidemic in this country is? They can't sleep with themselves at night. You know, the average American I read was on 5 different prescriptions. Average. You think about that. Why? They can't sleep. They're taking pills, and then they're not waking up. They're killing themselves. You know, they get all gung-ho, get me a motorcycle, get me a gun, get me a big picture, and they try to create this false bravado, and even the girls are doing it. They're trying to create some weird, whacked-out image that they think they fit in. I can prove it. Look what anything trends, whether it be some type of clothing, wear, whatever, everybody's wearing it. I mean, there's never been a sheep mentality, a herd mentality like this in the history of this country. You got 350 million fainting goats. You know, and they just go. They don't even have to watch freaking anything. They just follow everybody else. You just got a small handful of spiritual leaders, television media, NSA stars, and the government sits around and laughs. I can prove it. You know, you read Scott McClellan's book. Scott McClellan says it in his book. He talks just about this. He says, they used to sit around the Situation Room and say just this. Say, look at this. Are you kidding me? We get a few evangelical leaders that preach this hate, kill, and they sit around and make fun of that are so-called the very freaking good. Look at these sheep and goats. They'll believe anything we say. You know, 16 Saudi Arabians, Brother Bandar, go blow up the towers. So we're going to go bomb the shit out of and freaking annihilate Afghanistan and Iraq, who have nothing to do with Saudi Arabia. Yet these sheep will go for it. ISIS. That's the most made-up shit in history. They're really getting freaking dreamy now, sitting around their think tanks. It works. It works. Look at the election. ISIS Ebola. Now, here's the big one. Let's throw the minds, you know, they just diversion tracks on Fukushima, Japan. Oh, now there's some more Japanese they got in ISIS. You know, let's drag Japan in to get the freaking minds off Fukushima. You know, the greatest ecological catastrophe in human history. You know, one of my longtime viewers was in Southern California, and she called me a couple of days ago, and she said, Kevin, I don't know what to do. I'm got on La Jolla, and there's a stranded mama Sil. Baby's trying, she's sick. She looks like she's been wounded and hurt. She's like, called around. Can't get anybody to do anything. I'm like, well, who did they tell you to call? When they tell them, they're saying, oh, call SeaWorld. I'm SeaWorld. They kill people. By the way, I stay in Pacific Beach when I'm down there, and I walk over. I've been kicked off SeaWorld 3 times. They won't allow me to video. They threaten to sue me. They're Nazis over there. I mean hardcore Nazis. Southern California, San Diego County, the last San Diegan. I'm in the hearing at San Onofre. It's right on the webpage of my page. It's right on there. I'm in there right after I gave that little rant of mine. There's a 95-year-old activist over there. She's been around forever. She got up, come walk up to me, and she had tears in her eyes. She said, Kevin, you know you're it. You know they're all dead. I said, yeah, they raised me. You know you're the last. You're the last. The last San Diegan. They're gone. The military, the great military. What? What? Come to SeaWorld, kids, and watch a whale kill a human. I mean, the most beautiful place in the world for thousands of years. The Spanish knew it. The indigenous people knew it. Us blue-eyed, blonde-haired fucking devils knew it. We were down there for a long time. It's gone. They've blown it up. The fields are gone. The farmers are gone. The salt of the earth, it's gone. It's all retirees that moved in there. We came from Michigan. We bought, look at this, honey, because they're still competing with their friends. And look at our big, ugly mansion. I mean, these are old people. 65 years, and they got a great big house with Fifi and Fufu, their dogs. And now that's all people do in San Diego is the dog walkers on the beach. So they chase the sandpipers off. They chase the sea turtles out. The freaking sea lions, the dogs will kill them. So she calls around. I told her, call Noah, and I'll tell you this story about them fuckheads Noah. I'm out on Point Reyes. You know, there's pot of wells going. I did a lot of videos up there. I haven't put a lot of them up. But remember I put up the one video and there was the baby leopard seal? And the dude with us, John, I don't know what got in his head, crawling around like some kind of freaking 3-year-old. You know, over there crawling around like he's a freaking in the, third grade. I'm like, get away from him. Get away. You know, you leave those animals alone. Stress him out. He's over there trying to touch it, talk to it, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, somebody saw it, called Noah because Noah's in charge. So Noah calls me. Says, hey, what the hell, blah, blah, where's that sea lion pup? And I says, we called you and we told the Rangers where it was at. And well, we got to go do your work for you too? And he's bitching at me, and I'm like, wait a minute, dude. I'm standing in the marsh underneath the Golden Gate Bridge, which I was a big piece of getting that federally protected. Nobody used to go down there. I said, I'm there right now shooting a video. You want to go on the video? I says, the dog walkers' dogs are chasing the blue herons through the federally protected marsh. Not to mention that the MoMA has sculptures in the federally protected marsh. Not to mention that they have prisoners from the prison mowing the marshes. They're not supposed to be touched by federal law. I says, you know what he tells me? Oh, we know I have a problem down there. Why don't you fucking fix it? Put a gate. There's no wrong or right. There's popular opinion. What's popular opinion in California? Move right to the edge of the beach so we can look out at the water. Look at us, honey. Look at our big, ugly house. Let's go walk Fifi and Fufu. Oh, Fifi and Fufu just love to see turtles. I got a dolphin tattooed on my ass, honey. The pigs. They're pathetic. They really are pathetic. I mean, all my travels and everything, Southern California was the most pathetic by fucking 10 times. Lights go out and I can't be saved. Tides that I tried to swim against. Wow. Brought me to my knees. Shooting Steve Jobs Chinese apple off my head. It's amazing what California's happened. But the sad thing is, the Pacific Ocean, the marine layer, which used to roll in, it's a pink plankton ugly. So, what is the end means? Your death via cancer early. All of you down there think you're going to live to be 100. You're not. You're not. Very few of you are going to like 70. Fukushima's killing you. It's called cancer. Go down there. Go into Southern California. Scripps, forget the marine biology. It's federally funded by U.S. Scripps. No, they're cancer treatment centers now. They go on for fucking miles. You should see Scripps down there now. It goes on for miles. Every place you look, there's the cancer treatment center. There's the cancer treatment. Come in. Oh, we have these really nice hotel rooms. We're going to save. We're like Huntsman. We're going to save you. You're going to eat caviar while you're dying. Oh, fuck you. You're dead. Hi. In the meantime, extort every penny you've got, and you're going to cling to that fucking money till you die. There's no environmentalists left. Greenpeace captured. Sierra Club captured. Every single last person in the United States, A to Z, all the way up and down. Maybe not Megan Rice. Every single person is still competing. They think this is a competition. They think this is a game. They think it's a game with their neighbors, their own family, everything. They're all still trying to compete. And if, they're going to do it economically, and they're going to show their neighbors and their relatives and kind of look how well we're doing, even if their fucking debt structure's in the fucking $1 million to the bad. They're not about to fucking let anybody know that. I could prove that too. 200 years, probably longer than that, even goes longer than that if you trace back into Europe. Probably well over 1,000 years, maybe thousands of years. Social scientists have studied what are human beings reluctant to talk about. Number one's always been sexuality. Always been sexuality. For the first time since anyone's been tracking any sake anything, it changed. It changed 10, 15 years ago. It changed over this war, mass murder, culture of death time frame. It changed to their debt. That's what they want. So, they can use plastic surgery and make their body, they think, look better, which it doesn't. Botox on their lips, breasts, whatever, blah, 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 blah. That's how they're going to compete. But that would even be better than what they're competing on how much money. Look how big my house is. I have 4 of them when I can't afford anything. And then if you're at the top, you're the corporate structure or you're whatever. There's plenty of people got a lot of money for nothing and their chicks for free. They don't do anything. How would you like to be a cop right now? Cops are getting more and more and more money. They don't do anything. I mean, my friends that are cops are like, we show up on everything because we're bored. What changed that? The police's job, surveillance. There's a video camera fucking everywhere. Nobody gets away with shit anymore. There's a video, unless you are the cops and you choke a guy for selling some bootlegging cigarettes. Yet the people right across the street on Staten Island, right across the street from where they choked him to death, right across the street, you got a guy who's corporate for Goldman Sachs who's extorted. This guy won't pay his taxes on selling his cigarettes, yet right across the street, there's a Goldman Sachs there that refuses to pay his taxes to the hundreds of millions. They turn him into an oligarch god and parade him through the streets on their shoulders. By the way, the best activists in the country, bar none, are in New York City. You'd think that the best environmentalists are in New York City. I travel all over. It's not even close. They're in New York City. They're not in California. California is the least. They're stronger environmentalists in New Jersey. They're stronger analysts in Texas. They're stronger environmentalists in Idaho, in freaking, anywhere but California. There are no environmentalists in California. None. And the ones who say they're environmentalists, they're competing. They're doing the same thing. They're seeing how much money they can make or whatever. It's a game to them. They don't mean it. They're in it for all the wrong reasons. Unless you're an environmentalist because you love the environment. Make no mistake about it. I hate the nuclear industry with a hardcore passion. I'm the real hardcore, and I hate them because they're fucking murderers. I'm trying to avenge. That V I put up is not for peace. I want to avenge the murder of my father. I want to avenge the fact that they destroyed my life, took every dime from me, and fucking put me in a bone marrow transplant and fucking almost killed me. It's a brutal, hardcore path. I hate the fuckers. Because I know they're fucking liars, and I know they're nothing. They're devils. They're Shiva. Team Shiva, I mean it. People pull back on me on YouTube or whatever. I don't care. I don't care. This is not a popularity contest. I don't want to be part of that popularity contest. I'm recording history. That's all I'm doing. That's what artists do. Because we're not getting anywhere with this generation. This generation is going down with the ship, and they're going to go down with the ship, and they have already gone down with the ship. None of this is going to happen. Already happened. So many of them are already dead. Their dogma. But the fact of the matter is, rush hour used to be a healthy America. Go to work at 9, get off at 4 or 5, one person a week. 40 hours a week, had plenty of money. You know, it wasn't a greedy. He had a communal system. Went to the butcher, the candlestick maker, the freaking neighborhood freaking tire store, whatever. Walmart rolled in, took all that. Now, people that live across the street don't even know each other because they're getting up at 4:30 in the morning. They're going to work. Rush hour, 5, 6 in the morning. You know, one car, one person, their little sanctuary, that car. Oh, this is my reward that I get for, you know, giving up my whole life to some dead-end job is this car. So they commute back, you know, get a shitty pizza, you know, rushing because they don't have many hours. Try to feed family, do whatever. They're economically strapped, whatever, trying to keep up with the Joneses, the facade, and do it all over again. Sometimes 7 days a week, sometimes 2 jobs. Both of them. Man, woman, if they still can keep the freaking marriage together, who the fuck can keep a marriage together in that dynamic? Kids all fucked up because they're raising themselves. School system's a fucking disaster. 98% of teachers in Utah are females. Think about that. Wow. 98%. The feminization of America. I love it. How the feminization of America, they've got that all wrong, too. You know, the evangelicals will say, oh, we're going to go watch MMA fighting, which is one grotesque, sick sport. It's a byproduct America hates. They want to watch people kill each other. You know, the elitists, here's what's going to happen next. Oh, they do that. It's called the NFL. Huh. Get these arenas. You go in, you sit and eat chicken, GMO chicken, drink freaking sodas, big fat pigs with hairspray on, and watch people try to kill each other. Why don't they just bring lions in? And then bring, oh, Johnny, you're going to be an NFL player. We make you rich. You're a royal. The African-American community has fallen for it, lock, stock, barrel. The three-headed snake, a false equivalency. Oprah, Bongo, and Madonna. Okay, so you got Oprah. She's championing African-American cause. Doesn't she live in Chicago? You know how many young deaths there are a day? You know how many handgun murders a day? How many murders there are a day? Yet she's going to build a school in Africa and save. Oh, she's the phoniest bitch that ever fucking walked. And then there's Bongo. He's going to champion the Irish cause. When no one will stand up for Kevin Arnett, who really is championing their cause. Oh, Bongo's in the club. Then you got, oh, Madonna. Yeah, she's going to go fucking have sex with fucking A-Rod, the biggest cheater in human history, a fucking creepy crawler creep. False equivalents and creeps. You know, it's a sad place we live in. Oh, it's always been like this. No, it hasn't always been like this. And that's the way he wants it. That's the way he gets it. Not some men you can't reach. All men you can't reach. People will compete to their death. And I can prove this. 85% of people that are on Social Security still believe they're going to be a millionaire, when none of them are going to be a millionaire. Who would want to be? Lottery. People will line up. I mean, have you seen Powerball lately? You got no chance. No chance. People will freaking line up and spend money and go crazy over it. Dreamer, you're nothing but a dreamer. You got your head up your fucking ass. Oh, no. It's amazing. The Royals. By the way, little girl, a prince is going to come island Cinderella and save you, and you're going to marry. Who'd want one of the creepy, ugly, inbred fuckers? Who wants to be fucking rich? That's not rich. That's not rich. Our parents understood that. Middle America was communal. They were comfortable with their lives. You know, they were comfortable with going to their job and having dignity and doing a good job and doing what they did and being part of the community. They were comfortable with paying their share of fucking taxes. They were not comfortable with the 1%. So the tax rate in the 50s, 60s, and 70s on the 1% was 91%. 400% tariffs on automobiles, on all kinds of stuff. Protectionists? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they protected their community. They protected their wife. They protected their children. And not with some fault. They didn't have handguns. They weren't walking around, oh, I'm going to my gun. I'm going to kill. You want to kill somebody? Nobody wants your Walmart shit. Nobody's coming in your house and stealing your Walmart shit up your house. Again, it's just false bravado that you've been sucked up through ignorance. Feed you. Here, buy a gun, get the bullets, go to the shooting range and shoot it. You know, spend $400 every time you go, but you best not ever pull one out. And I can prove it over. It happens all the time here, a lot. Some of the murders, the cops killed. So the call comes in. Got a gun in the house. It's always the same story. She's leaving him. You know, usually, you know, she's hooked up with the boss or whatever. He finds out something, or vice versa. The emotions are hot. Confrontation starts by logical people that would never have a confrontation with each other. Never. Never. Those are emotional. We used to have what we call crimes of passions laws for these reasons, because people know in those situations they lose control. Even the strongest minded people can lose control. So the call goes in, 911. First question, do you have a gun? Yes. Well, law enforcement, because they're law enforcement, they're not police, they're not going to come there and be diplomatic. No, they're going to come there, judge, jury, executioner. Gun, the SWAT team showing up with guns drawn. They're, without hesitation, they're going to kill the dude. Got a gun in his hand, boom, bang, bang, dead. No questions, if, ands, or buts. Now, if the call goes in, is there a gun? No, he ain't got a gun. They come in a very different way. So the gun in the hand is the excuse to kill you. And you're surely, and it's like, oh, they're going to come take our gun, so I'm going to protect myself with a gun. Why don't you go out to Bonneville Speed Week and race your covered wagon? I think their technology passed the gun a long, long time ago. Ask Saddam. They got the technology. They can take, I mean, they can watch. It's everybody tells me, well, NSA's watching you. And I says, yeah, they're watching you too through a computer screen. And they said, put some clothes on, go on a diet, and you need to vacuum. Their technology raced so far past. So you have this technology fascist regime. So you can't fight it that way. It's impossible. The old saying out west, you're outgunned. How do you break it? It has to be philosophical, which that's the only way that's ever worked anyway. Sam Adams. It has to be relentless, tireless leaders. So, we've tried the Million Mass March, the Post-Ignorance Ceremony, and it doesn't take many leaders. The American Revolution was started with 5 guys. So it has to be break within, but it has to be led. The goats and the sheep have to be led, and their conscience has to be awoke. The shirtwaist fire changed a lot because Americans still had conscience, and they were heartbroken when those girls died, and they saw it in their face. Americans don't care anymore. Their neighbors can be freaking shot by cops. Their neighbors can die of cancer. Their loved ones can die of cancer. And they act like they care and all that, but deep down inside, it's all about them because they still think they're competing. So the only way you can change it is from within. Dorothy Day, we need a revolution of the heart. So the virtues, the strong virtues, that's what has gone. Integrity, dignity, all these things where you look out for each other, you love each other. I mean, those inherent qualities that we're born with that have been stripped away from you, that's why you're popping pills. That's how this changes. That's how change inside police forces, inside the Navy, inside the Army. Politicians ain't going to save it. Lobbyists sure ain't going to change it. The voting populace, they're fucking pathetic. They ain't going to change nothing. Power has to be stripped away from politicians. It has to be taken away. And it has to start right now. We used to have church leaders. We could always look to them. That's gone now, too. I mean, you think about that. The last bastion, that's why the Constitution, the First Amendment was written in that way, to keep those things communal. It was the small line between the populace and its government and all these things. The last bastion was the religious clause. Churches. People could take sanctuary. They could take freaking, that's what they were there for. By the way, it's against the law to have private security and have freaking fences around your tree and have nonprofit. It's against the law. But what the fuck's law in this country? Are you kidding me? It's against the law for Y-12 to be making more nuclear weapons, making a rice force in there. I don't see anything. America can give a shit about law. There's no wrong or right. It's against the law to pay someone cash. It's against the law to cheat your neighbor. All these things. They don't care. They don't care. It's against the law to kill an unarmed person, choke them to death. That's against the law. We don't care about no law. Constitution? We have no Constitution. People need to wake up to that. It's called the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act, which is the biggest, heaviest document you've ever seen, completely, the entire Constitution's gone. All of it. All of it. There's no due process. There's no nothing. Like I said, in Utah, the prosecutor makes it up because, especially most of the country, we have a culture of hate in the country so bad. You know what the conviction rate in juries is right now for criminals? And by the way, the poorer you are, the bigger chance you are of being convicted. Now, corporate criminals your so-called celebrity killers, whatever, they always get off because people worship them. Because juries are sick and stupid. The jury system's a joke. So as soon as the prosecutor freaking tees you up, you're done. Because not only will your jury of peers want you guilty, they'll want you hung. They'll go for the freaking death penalty. So there's no checks and balances. There's no, two-party system. The Supreme Court's hijacked itself, 5-4. William Roberts had no business being there, which didn't win. You can draw this line right back to 9/11, which Fukushima is a calendar opposite, 3/11. Were they caused? It doesn't matter if they caused. The fact of the matter, they sure took advantage of both events. Eugenics, oh, they love it. If you don't believe me, you think about it, and I call it Team Shiva, which somebody else come up with that word, not me. Team Shiva, John Holden, Matthew McCormick. They're eugenicists. PhDs done on it. Which, by the way, they've got it all wrong. They got the tail wagging the dog. How do you thin the herd? By killing 60-year-olds and 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds. Of course, they do their share of killing 20-year-olds, too. To have a conversation about... And I want to say this. There's been some writings out there about Michelangelo because it's 500 years. Oh, Michelangelo was obviously a homosexual. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. It's like this. It says, well, he wrote this poetry to, what's his name, his model, blah, 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 blah. The only girl that he was sexually involved with was the poet. He was sexually involved with her for a long time. So, I'll say it like this. I had muscles from head to toe. I think it was because I was shot up with a lot of freaking steroid, and I was a worker, and I lived in Utah, and I had this incredible blonde hair, and I used to get, muscles just jumped all over my body when I was 18, 19 years old, 17, 18. I was a plaster. I'm outdoors. Work with my shirt off. I'm plastering on a wall, and this guy comes walking up to me. Old guy. I'll never forget this. And he says, I got to tell you, Kevin, I really, really enjoy watching your body and watching your muscles and everything, and freaking, you go across that wall with freaking thing. It's incredible. And he says, I really appreciate your beautiful freaking male body, but I sure don't want to kiss you. And his wife laughed so hard. He says, and he had a really long discussion with me about, this guy knew his shit, which Ogden was full of sophisticated, brilliant people like that, geniuses. We had this incredible discussion about Michelangelo. He says, Michelangelo apprenticed with a plaster at 13. I said, I know. That's why I'm a plaster. That's why I went into it. That's what made up being a plaster. And he talked a lot about how he, sculptured David and the models and everything, and how the strong male body, and how a lot of spirits believed that the body, and this went on clear into the 70s and 80s, was the body, not this ballooned up, grotesque, ballooned up, the physical body with the little subtle muscles and the beautiful structure, that was a reflection of the soul. And there's a lot of people that still believe that, by the way. And by the way, what's his name? The fit model. I'm talking about a guy like that has the big blown up steroid, whatever those muscles were. It's grotesque. But he was killed in California, hit by a train, I think he had his GoPro out there shooting a video. The way I want people to understand in Southern California, because I spend so much time there, be careful on those trains. Because they run right through the communities, and they don't fuck around. You can rock right up. You got to know your shit. And so you goofies that move in there from Michigan or whatever, those things travel at 80, 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, right through the towns. They don't fuck around. So, it's a tragic accident that happened to him. But we had a long conversation, and I've always known that, your body means so much physically, what you put in it, how you treat it, the reflection, but nuclear fallout even trumps that. Now, we know some of what we call the overtrained athletes. There's Outside the Lines did a beautiful piece on why are all the triathletes dying. Well, let's see. They moved to Moab, Utah, the nuclear fallout, contamination, uranium contamination hotspot of the world. Stay out of southern Utah. I'm telling you, southern Utah is the cancer capital of the world, bar none. So Moab, they come here and they train, or they're in San Francisco and they're swimming in the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. That's why they're dying. I can tell you right now, I was in the hospital. The guy who won the Ironman died in the hospital in there. You know, a lot of marquee athletes are in there because that's where they're training. The nuclear fallout, these contaminations are getting into their liver, are getting into your body. You know, how mine got into me, I was up on a roof at the top of Birch Creek after Fukushima. I think that's where I got hammered. And my body couldn't take much more anyway, you know, because of my genetic code had been mutated from my dad being nuked in the Nevada test site, one of the Marines. You know, by the way, I could tell you the thumbprint of the Megan Rice really shows how fucked up this country is. 84-year-old man. She did it for publicity, by the way. Her own niece told me that in the Knoxville airport. She didn't get any. I tried. Sad. But there's even a bigger story than that. USS Reagan and the other 8 ships they sent in and human laborated their own Marines and their own Navy personnel. And they file suit in San Diego, and no one gives a fuck. No one cares. I'm down there, right there. I mean, in the old days, there'd be hundreds of reporters there. You know, corporate fucking reporting NBC, ABC. NBC sits right there. They could walk right out of their building. I mean, it's 1 block, less than a block, right there. Nobody. Americans are fucking liars. Oh, we love the troops. No, they don't. They hate the fucking troops. It's all false bravado. Oh, they're heroes. No, it's just all a fucking, it's a facade. They don't give a fuck about any fucking troops. They don't give a fuck about anybody. They don't give a fuck about any bird. How can they give a fuck about a bird or an animal or the fucking air they breathe when they don't even give a fuck about their neighbor? They don't give a fuck about their own family members. They care about themselves. And they don't even care about themselves. Well, I mean, they're care about their dogma. They're down. It's been broken down to the most common denominator. What's the most common denominator in a human being? Fear and greed. Even Trump's sexuality. Fear and greed. So that's what they're down to. The hardcore root of the most common denominator, the fucking, when it gets all right down, the onion is completely, purely fucking naked to the fucking fainting goats. It gets purely naked down to they're standing there and they're nothing but fear and greed. Now, they might mask it over with their facade, their big, ugly house they don't need, their ugly, shiny car they can't afford, you know, because and look at, oh, so-and-so's doing so good. You know, they can go to the family party or the fucking everything and say, oh, well, yeah, wow. Who gives a fuck? Wow. People living in competition. All I want is my peace of mind. Even that guy's a fraud. I went to his concert, Boston. Tom Schultz, what a fraud. Oh, yeah, I'm just this. Swim pretty dolphins swimming on the fucking marquee. Got a guy from American Idol up there saying, trying to sell and hawk things. Talk to the people trying to raise money to save the ocean. Didn't even know about Fukushima. They're environmentalists that aren't environmentalists. The last San Diegans. There is not one single environmentalist left in all of California. Not one. There's no agency. There's no nothing. Pacific Ocean is not going to die. So much of it's already dead. And this culture killed it. Dead. Oh, it'll overcome. It'll survive, but so many of you won't. You know, when you get cancer, God's will, it's not God's will. Kim Shell, stay tuned.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Twin Gate 311.